Where is it?
It should be right on top of us.
Alec!
I've never seen a demon like that.
On your 6!
Can you see it? What the hell is it waiting for?
He's coming around for another pass.
Alec!
Relax. I got this.
Hey, guys.
Let's keep it going for Katherine, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Oh my God, our pleasure. So yesterday you were slaying the red carpet at the Teen Choice Awards.
Well, thank you.
In Los Angeles, and now you're here with me in New York. Did you get to go to any after parties or anything?
No, I didn't, but that's okay because I get to be here with you guys.
What was it like going to the awards now that the show's a little bit more well-established and the second season has been received so well?
Teen Choice Awards is always really special for us because last year we won 2 Teen Choice Awards, and for having that kind of support and recognition for our first season was incredible. And then to be back again with more nominations this season, it's such a dream, and it's so fortunate. We're so thankful.
I love seeing you on the red carpet with your fellow freeform actors. Is it kind of like a family over there? Like, how many Pretty Little Liars numbers do you have in your phone?
Do I have any? I don't think I have any of their numbers. I wish I did. I'm such a fan of that show. But no, Freeform is a big family, and that's what's so great about it. Because we do so much press together, and we do so many different things that cross over, it's nice to have that sort of community.
Did you have any fun celeb run-ins?
Who did I spent a lot of my time with the cast of Famous in Love. Some of my Teen Wolf friends that I ran into. And I saw Isaiah Mustafa on the carpet, which was the highlight of my evening.
Well, the second season of Shadowhunters wraps up in an epic fashion tonight. And it's been sort of a rough season for Clary. There's been, a lot of self-discovery and empowerment, but also a lot of heartbreak. Is there sort of a light at the end of the tunnel here? I just want you to be happy.
Well, y'all have probably seen the trailer. So the end of the trailer is not a light at the end of the tunnel, as many of you can imagine. I can say this, that there are a lot of highs and lows in this episode, without spoiling anything. There are a few moments of light, but, leading up toward the end of the season, we've started to see a different side of the Shadow world. When Clary first entered it, it sort of was this world of magic and wonder and enchantment for her. And as she's gotten closer to taking responsibility for her actions and growing into this world and becoming more of an adult in this world, she started to see the colder, more brutal, more deadly side of the Shadow world, and that continues into this episode.
Right, well, if you haven't seen the trailer yet, it promises that there's gonna be one big death.
At least one.
At least one. I think if it's anybody but Magnus and Alec, I think it'll be okay, but how should I prepare?
Here's what I'm telling folks to prepare. I say get a box of tissues, get comfort food of your choice, maybe a blanket, something to cuddle with, hold your loved ones close, because it's brutal. It really is heartbreaking. I was crying reading the script, but it's so well done. The production value of these last 2 episodes have just skyrocketed. We had drones on set almost every day. We shut down the biggest street in Toronto for a day. We were just talking about that teaser that they released. But there's so many amazing elements that have really elevated our show, not only within the characters and the story and the plot, but in the cinematography of the show as well.
Yeah, the season finale has a really epic kind of cinematic feel, super blockbustery. Yeah. And the action sequences are really impressive. Especially, you have a lot of hand-to-hand combat moments. How do you approach that? Is it kind of second nature now for you, or do you still have a lot of preparation?
Well, I'm always learning, and that's what's so great. We have an amazing stunt and fight team on our show who are masters in a myriad of different martial arts and boxing and all of the things that we need in order to portray these characters. But what's so great about it is they take the time to teach us the principles of these martial arts and of these fighting skills and the weapons that we use and things things like this, so that when we apply them to the choreography, we actually have a little bit of background and we know a little bit more of what we're doing instead of them just being random moves that we're putting together. But what I love about what they do is they take the time to blend different martial arts and craft a different fighting style for each character. And that way, every fight, they not only approach it from a story perspective and from a what looks cool perspective, but also from the perspective of where these characters are in the story and how they fight and how this situation affects them. So it becomes a story within a story, and it makes the fights mean so much more. But the other thing I love is they continue to challenge us. So every fight, I'm always on my toes because they're pushing us. They see that we accomplish one thing, and in the next fight they say, okay, here's a new kick, practice this, and in 2 episodes we'll put it in a fight. And so we're always building our skills, and we're always constantly honing and training and doing new things, which is a gift on a show like this.
How would you describe Clary's fight style? Like, what adjectives would you use?
We always talk about Clary's fighting style as being very feral, especially as it develops, because Clary is, she's always compassionate. She has this huge heart, and she's full of love all the time and always tries to see the good in people. But we love creating the fact that when she fights, it's that little bit of Morgenstern in her that comes out. It's that little bit of Valentine that you get to see of her, because he is part of her, and he always will be. And that's, Clary's perpetual struggle, I guess, is there's always 2 sides of her, whether it's mundane or Shadowhunter or Angel or Valentine, I guess, or all of these different sides of her. But that's what you see when she fights, is that little bit of fire within her.
I love that. And speaking of your twisted family tree, where we last left off, your evilish brother Sebastian /
Evilish?
Evil, okay, full
Pretty
on evil.
evil.
I wanted to give him a little bit of room.
I mean, we all do feel sorry for him, but yes.
He was sort of falling to his death. Yeah. This can't be the last time we see him, right?
You'll just have to wait and see. Look, I can neither confirm nor deny the life or death of any character on the show at this point, just for my own personal, doing my job, not spoiling the show. Because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but this finale is epic for sure.
I think for fans who didn't read the book, that twist that Sebastian was actually your brother, there was a little Game of Thrones brother loving going on there, was a huge reveal. What was it like to incorporate that character into the universe on the TV series?
Oh, it's absolutely wicked, pun intended. Sebastian's been my favorite character from the books from day one. I read all 6 books in kind of the first season of the show, and he's such a tragic character, and he's so twisted and yet so pure at the same time, in the fact that all he wants is a family and all he wants is love, but because of the way he was raised, he's incapable of figuring out how to go about getting it in a healthy way, or even how to go about obtaining love at all in any form. And it's so twisted the way in which he goes about doing it that it's a constant dichotomy that will never unravel itself. But bringing that character to life has been so brilliant. And we have the amazing Will Tudor, who plays Sebastian, Jonathan, whichever name you'd like to refer to him as. Names are always confusing on this show.
They are a little confusing.
Yeah, but having someone like Will, who's so fantastic, come on the show and really infuse it with this other sense of evil, it's been such a fresh, a breath of fresh air to the show that I think it really has helped to elevate it this season.
Yeah, he's been such a great addition. Yeah. Mentioning the books, do you have a sort of wish list of things that you want to see, having read all of them?
A lot of my wish list has happened this season. The Seelie Court was on it. Sebastian was on it. What else was on it? There have been a lot of things. There's a lot of things still to come that are on it that, are in the works.
Yeah, they've been delivering this season. I gotta say, they've not been shy.
No.
Amid all this darkness, there has been one bright spot: your relationship with Jace. I feel like finally you guys are on the same page.
Finally.
Oh my God. Was it sort of refreshing to liberate yourself and that character from the love triangle dynamic with Simon?
Yes, in a sense. It was painful, for sure. But that love triangle has been something that we've built for so long. And I feel like this season, it went through a lot of its journey, in a sense. Starting with Clary and Simon's relationship, and then the Seelie Court being kind of the catalyst for them falling apart so that she and Jace end up falling together, maybe. It's it's been a great journey, and as a book fan, it's been really fun for me to bring that to life. You know, working with Alberto, episode 15 was heartbreaking because the two of us have spent so long building these characters, and the two of us are so close as well. So going through that was a process, but one of my favorite of the season. And now it's such an exciting opportunity for Jace and Clary because they're both at a point where they're open to exploring their connection and seeing what this relationship could actually mean for the both of them. And we've seen they have an electric connection from day one. And in episode 19, there was the tracking rune sequence where we saw the combination of not only their angelic powers, but their connection and their emotions toward each other. And there's a power in that. And that power it's dangerous. And so we'll see, well, it's dangerous to some. So we'll see how that affects everything moving forward.
As a fan of the series, do you ship certain couples? Like, are you a Jason Clary fan? Like, is that the one you choose? I don't want to get you in trouble.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's a black and white choice because Clary needs both Simon and Jace in her life, and she has to go through. It's all about a journey. You know, she has to go through the process of exploring her relationship with Simon and the growth that brings her, and the heartbreak that brings her and Simon and their friendship, to be able to move on, to be able to get to the point where she is now. So as much as everybody loves the end game, it's all about the journey. And of course, I'm a Malik shipper 100%. I just have to put that out there.
You know, speaking of Simon, he's had quite a season as well, and, you know, love interests galore almost.
I know!
No one's crying. And you mentioned the Seelie Queen, and it's been so fun to see Sarah Hyland take on that role. When they announced it at Comic-Con, the fans went crazy. What has that been like having her on set? Were you a Modern Family fan?
Oh, of course. I mean, Sarah's been a part of the Shadowhunters family since day one. And so having her play this role, it was perfect. It was meant to be. But that was a secret that we had to keep for so long, and it was so hard for all of us because we were so excited to have her. And I'll never forget seeing her walk on set for the first time in the full Seelie Queen wardrobe. How gorgeous does she look?
Gorgeous.
Right? I almost fell out of my chair, quite honestly. It was perfect. It was the Seelie Queen come to life.
What was it like being at Comic-Con this year? I mean, to actually engage with fans in such an explicit way is such a unique experience, I imagine.
Well, it was our first San Diego Comic-Con. We've done New York for the past few years, which has been incredible. But going to San Diego, because that's, you know, sort of the classic ultimate Comic-Con experience, it was amazing. There's such a community there, and there's such this energy of excitement. Everybody's there to work, yes, but everybody's also a fan of something. And getting to be around people who have that energy and who are so excited about the show and so knowledgeable about the show was incredible. And I also was able to do, aside from all of the Shadowhunters stuff, which we have so much fun with because it's our opportunity to have a little fun in our interviews as well, I did a panel for TV Guide with a bunch of different characters from shows that have source material. And so all of us kind of understood what that journey was like, and we all were able to relate on different levels. It was great.
Do you come across like book purists ever that are so, you know, wed to the text that they sort of want things to happen that maybe don't, or characters appear? How do you sort of relate to that?
I think that's great. I mean, everybody has their opinions on this story, but that's what I love about the Shadowhunters fandom. They're so passionate. They know about the story. They care about these characters as much, if not more, than we do, because they've lived with this story for years, and they are so invested. And so often in this industry, you put all of your heart and soul into something and put it out there in the world and just hope that somebody cares about it, hope that it affects someone, hope that it, you know, does something positive in someone's life. And the fact that Shadowhunters has this fan base that already cares about the show and wants to be a part of this journey, it's amazing. But more often than not, I run into fans who are book purists, but also have an open mind, and they're willing to accept these changes and to go on this journey as a fresh, new take on these characters and this story that we love so much.
I love that. You really feel a connection to the fans. Like, it's so clear. Yeah. And you mentioned before, but of course the fans love some Malik.
Yes.
And what can, you know, they've been sort of at odds this season, haven't had a kind of moment together. Can we, you know, give us some hope?
Well, there's a lot of, they are together a lot of this episode, I can tell you that. What else can I tell you? The thing with Magnus and Alec, they've said from the beginning that relationships take work. They take effort. and they're both very good at that. But we're at this kind of precipice with the Downworld and the Clave, where you have all of the different sects of Downworlders and all of the different creatures that are kind of at odds. And you have these two leaders. You have Magnus, who is the High Warlock of Brooklyn and supposed to be taking care of his community that's we've seen they're in a precarious situation. And then you have Alec, who's in a new position at the Clave. His career is finally taking off. He's gaining more responsibility, but at the same time, he wants to stay loyal to Magnus. And so both of them are having to choose between their head and their heart, their loyalty to their people and their love for each other. And that's sort of the impossible choice. And you even see that with Luke and Clary to some extent. Luke has to take care of his people, but he's also really the only parental figure Clary has left, because Valentine doesn't count, let's be real. So, it's a very tricky situation that is all coming to a head in this episode.
You guys, it's so, so good. I can't wait for you to see it. And, if that wasn't enough, the show's already been renewed for a 3rd season. Can we get a round of applause for that?
Thank you, guys.
What is it like knowing that this story is going to be told for another season? It must feel good to know you're going to be around.
It's a dream come true. This show is a dream job for me. I get to work on a character that I love, that's constantly growing, constantly evolving, in a story that has so many different facets, doing something that I love with people that I love. And it couldn't be a better situation. And knowing that we have another year or another potentially several years to go, it's so heartening and it's so encouraging.
And you guys get, when you watch interviews with you guys, it seems like you're having so much fun. You're always giggling, always laughing. What is it like on set? How do you keep it together?
We don't always. We do for the most part because we are professionals and we do our job. But it's great to work in an environment, especially when the show is so dark and when there's such intensity all the time, to be able to have those moments of levity and to be able to kind of let go a little bit. And also, because we've all known each other for almost 3 years now, we've been working so closely together, the characters have grown closer, but we have as well. And so when we do have those scenes that we really have to go to a vulnerable place or to really put ourselves out there and take a risk, it's so helpful to have someone there that you have an intrinsic trust with and that you know very well, and you know the nuances of their expressions and of their voice and of everything, and they know yours. And so you're there for each other, and it just becomes play, and it just becomes experimentation and fun.
Well, it's so fun to watch. I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you have any questions.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a huge fan of yours, as well as the books and the show and even the movie. I mean, come on. But I was wondering, do you happen to have a certain scene or storyline that you're excited to film for season 3?
Season 3, I don't know much about yet, at least not much that I can say. But what I am looking forward to is, because Clary has gone through so much, and especially in what you'll see tonight, it changes her. And she is starting to see the world more as an adult. And the sort of glamour and glitter and wonder of the shadow world is gone. So moving forward, she definitely has a different perspective on things, and that will affect everything that she does moving forward and the way that she views the world around her. And not necessarily in a good way, but not necessarily in a bad way either. But tonight's episode, there are some moments that I'm so looking forward to people seeing. I've been waiting all season for this episode. So I'm really excited for you guys to see this tonight. Thanks.
Next question.
Hi.
So I want to lighten the mood a little bit. So if you and the cast went on a road trip, who would drive, who would control the music, who would sleep all the way, and who would get you guys lost?
I would get us lost because I'm directionally challenged. But they all know that, so they probably wouldn't listen to me anyway, which is probably a very good thing. I think Matt would drive, or Dom, depending. And then Dom or Alberto would control the music, or Harry. Harry's an extremely good DJ. Although Isaiah, any of us, we'd probably, it depends on how long the road trip is, we'd probably rotate. We would rotate, definitely. I would not drive, though. They won't let me drive. They won't let me give directions. I'm just a little sister, so I would bake, probably. I'd be in charge of snacks. I'm in charge of snacks. That's my job.
Key role.
Right?
Key role on a road trip.
Snacks keep everybody happy.
We got one more question.
Hi. I just
Hi.
want to say I'm a big fan of Shadowhunters and your work.
Thank you.
And what was your favorite rune that you got to use in the show that you got to activate, play around with?
I think my favorite rune this season has been Clary's portal rune. It's something I've been waiting for so long because Clary, all she's trying to do is find her place in this world. She's trying to find where she fits as a Shadowhunter to really be an intrinsic part of this team. And when she discovers this power, it's so mind-blowing to her. But also, the rune itself is so beautiful, and Folks VFX, which is the team that does our VFX for the show, did such an incredible job in creating a portal that still resembles the warlocks portals, but has a flair of its own that provides something new and different for Clary to really take ownership of. And that is something I was so excited to bring to life, and I marveled at how it turned out. Thank you.
And we got one more.
Hi.
Hi.
So you've done a lot of cool stunts on the show, and there's a lot of like visually stunning things. I was wondering what was one of your favorites to film, or if you have any interesting stories from doing that.
One scene that was, well, the drones have kind of been my favorite part of this last section of our season. We used them a lot in these last 2 episodes, particularly in tonight's episode. You guys have probably seen the preview scene where we're all on the street and there's the flying demons. That was all shot, or at least the majority of it was shot on drones, and we shut down the biggest street in Toronto for a day to shoot this scene. And it was such a neat feeling walking onto set that day because it's, we're in the middle of downtown Toronto. They brought in all these New York City taxi cabs and buses and things. We've got this drone flying around in the air. We're like, guys, this is our job. This is what we do for a living. This is really cool. And to see that the show has built to that point where we have the opportunity to use such great technology and really bring the production value and elevate the show to that level, it's incredible. Thank you.
And last question.
Hi.
Hi.
Is it true that you created an original song for the show?
That is true. I didn't initially create it for the show, but I wrote this song Ember after season 1, and it's partially inspired by the characters and partially inspired by some events that happened in my life. But it's very special to me, and I'm so happy that it's on the soundtrack for the show. And basically, it's about we all have moments in life where we doubt ourselves or we think we know who we're supposed to be, and suddenly someone or something makes us doubt that. But in spite of all that, there's always this little ember of hope. There's always this little spark within the flames or this spark within the ashes of something that can reignite at any moment. And that moment of reignition, that little bit of hope that's left, that's what Ember's about. And I thought it really fit into the show nicely, and they were able to use it. So I'm so grateful, and I cannot wait for everybody to hear it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And everyone catch
you.
Shadowhunters season finale in Freeform.